Good evening, everyone. Just finishing work and getting everything set up. This should be okay. And forward to actually getting into some of the DLC content that we've been sort of waiting for. We've got a couple of big things coming up. One of which, and fun enough, I have not done before. So I've mentioned this before on the stream. I've never played this game through and gotten Kasumi before because I just got the DLC. So I'm going to be experiencing that new, at least as a player, with some of you guys if you haven't seen it as well. So that'll be a lot of fun. Also going to bring up a lot of interesting topics about the sort of ethics of, for lack of a better term, the ethics of theft, right? She's the master thief. That's her big title. So it's going to be a lot about that. We're going to have to look at what she's stealing, how she's stealing it, and whether that's justifiable, that sort of thing. Also, minor announcement. I'm going to probably put this out on the Facebook page soon as well. Couple of minor announcements. One, starting next week, I'm going to be changing some of the days that I'm going to be streaming. I'm probably going to be switching to a Monday, Thursday instead of a Wednesday, Thursday. What's happening? Uh-oh. Is my audio not working? It's odd. Interesting. Let me know if you were hearing the clickety-clickety-clackety of this menu changing. I'm not seeing it show up. Okay, that's fine. Alright, cool. YouTube is telling me it's not, but it's lying. Neat. Anyway, that happens, apparently. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm going to be switching to Monday and Thursday. So Mass Effect is going to be moving to Monday, and Red Dead is going to be staying on Thursday. So that'll be there, at least for a while, until my schedule gets all settled. More changes may happen. We'll see. But that is going to be the schedule for now, starting next week. More good news. Let's resume and go into some of our loading screens. I have gotten a webcam, so I may start doing some stuff with it. I'm probably not going to be streaming on camera, at least not yet. I don't not set up for it really, other than having a webcam. I have a few other things I'd like to get settled first. I'd like to get a green screen backdrop, or at least get a background of some kind, that sort of thing. Get things set up in my office a little better. But that aside, if we do wind up doing any kind of, discussions, like group discussions of things, which I'm thinking about doing for some of the reading group stuff, then that will, I'll be using the webcam for that kind of thing, in addition to, actual class content. You say the audio is working, but I don't know if I believe you. So when you say the audio is working, can you hear the game audio? What's happening here? Output capture. Okay. Make sure. Okay, that's fine. Okay, yeah, I'll double check. I just want to make sure, because my my capture software is not showing a waveform for game audio. I just want to double check on this, because my computer did just update, and some of my codecs and stuff have also updated with it, so we will see. Anyway, I'll talk to Kelly Chambers, and if you guys can hear her, then I will ignore what my computer's telling me.
That Kasumi is an interesting addition to the crew. I can see why she's good at her work. She never reveals anything meaningful about herself. It's all on the surface. It'll be a challenge getting to know who she really is. Anyway, what's up?
Okay.
Is there anything I should know?
Nothing right now. Anything else, Commander?
That'll be all.
Take care.
Yeah, if anything is not working at any point, you let me know. What's up? I'm convinced. If you say it's working, I will believe you. Yeah, off. I'm a little unsettled by it. Anyway, so let's go to Kasumi's loyalty mission, which is in a different sector. Near the Citadel, not at the Citadel. Okay, yeah, no, I got I got the video of it, so I believe you. All right, let's head over there. So let's work. It works. Actually, wait, no, let's not do that. Wait, before we do this, there's something else I wanted to do first, which is a very minor mission, but I'm gonna buy for it again. I wanted to do the Normandy crash site mission first. It's a nice, quiet, peaceful mission too, so longish, but it's definitely worth doing. So let's go do that first. And, I don't know. Now let's go through quick. Let's just explore all these. Where do I know that name from? Okay, well, that's something you go to. Anyway,
I have detected an anomaly.
This is apparently where we crashed at the beginning of the game.
Probe launched.
But this is the planet that the original Normandy
Probe
crashed
away.
onto, and we are exploring, place a monument. Platinum. No. I bought some upgrades and things off stream,
Launching
so
probe.
we have to go through all the shopping.
Launching probe.
As you can hopefully tell, I also managed to get the everything working fine with the Wi-Fi booster, as I mentioned on Thursday. So that is good news for anything I'm doing live, which is better now. On which note, like I said, I've been thinking about doing something to do with that, having to do with the reading group. Reading group videos. I am in the process of planning, and hopefully I'm working on finding an ebook version of the next book I'm looking for the reading group, which is William Kavanaugh's The Myth of Religious Violence. I'm hoping to do the next reading group for that, same format as the last one, so long as that works. Unless anybody has better suggestions, I'm open to it. I'm also thinking about doing a follow-up thing where we have basically a watch together with anybody, any viewers of the channel, any former whatever students, including anybody who's a friend, fan, student, etc. Well, we basically watch through, we listen to me narrating, and we can pause and give commentary and have discussions on anything to do with anything that comes up in either my commentary on the text or the text itself. I figure that might be a good, interesting thing to do. That might give some nice interaction between me and anybody watching or anybody listening. It may also wind up being a nice extra credit opportunity for my actual real students. By actual real students, I mean upcoming students for the actual upcoming semester. Game audio is louder than me. Darn it. All right. Hopefully this fixes it. It's not showing up. Let me do something really for that. Alright, I turned it down a bit further. But again, like I said, it's not showing up. Let me know if it still is, because I turned it down pretty significantly. like I said, it's not showing up. The waveform isn't showing up on my capture software. So it could just be defaulting to max volume, which could be a disaster. Rosamund Draven. So the big part of this is to place a monument somewhere, the crew of the Normandy, and to collect everyone's dog tags. Yeah, I would definitely be looking forward to doing something like that. I think it could be a lot of fun. I think it could be really productive discussions. They would probably be fairly long. To full disclosure, I got the idea primarily from a podcast I've been listening to a lot of the backlog from, called Every Frame of Pause. It's basically it's a podcast that does that with especially with YouTube videos, but also with movies and TV shows and any kind of media. And they go through and watch together with it's led by the YouTuber Mauler, if you've heard of him. He does a lot of incredibly in-depth, long movie reviews and media reviews. And he has a lot of people on the podcast who do similarly. They have incredibly long, in-depth reviews. The kind of thing that I am more prone to do in the classroom. Their monument. Essentially, I actually really like the format of it. I'll explain in a moment. It's because this is Navigator Presley's journal. Unrecoverable data. Spoke to the commander about this. All those damned aliens aboard the Alliance's most advanced ship. I just don't trust them. A damned Asari. And a Quarian. What does Shepard think this is? A zoo? Yeah, that's a little... Well, I mean, we kind of knew that Presley was a little bit intolerant of other species. Something with the Quarian. It seems she's on some kind of pilgrimage, trying to improve the lot of her home ship. I can understand that. I would... something... babysit my children or anything, but if she has to be on board, I suppose that's not too bad. Something. For a while now, and I'm taking a look back at past entries in this journal, how blind I was at the time. I came on this ship firmly believing humanity was on its own in the galaxy. Something Shepard brought all these aliens on board, and there's no way we could have accomplished what we did without them. I'm proud to say, die for any member of this crew, regardless of what world they were on. Nice. Gotta like character development and an arc, even if it's posthumous like this. It is a little bit tacked on because he doesn't really have that much of a change in attitude in the first game, but it's still nice. I still like it. This is the Combat Information Center with the Galaxy map used to be. Anyway, yeah, so like I was saying, what I like about that format, the Every Frame of Pause format of going through and watching something, my old helmet, going through and watching usually this is especially useful for video essays, that sort of thing. Suddenly out of the frame again. Particularly useful element of that is to be able to watch it like you're reading an essay. Reading an actual written essay. Because if you're reading something, you have the ability to go back through and reread and cross-reference and examine sources and that sort of thing. Unfortunately, if you're listening to something, you really don't have that luxury usually, because again, video essays and even lectures like I'll present are ordinarily formatted to be watched all the way through. The point is for one part to lead inexorably into the next and not leave room for pausing and reconsidering. This is very different from how you would read a paper or read a book or read an article or what have you. It's very different than how you would interact with a lecture in a classroom. Right? If you're listening to my lecture actually in a classroom, there's a huge difference because in the classroom, I can pause, and I generally will. And, oop. I did it again. Clicked out of frame. Stop. Get that to stop. Anyway. Right, because in a classroom, I'm not going to be just lecturing, talking, without stopping whatsoever. I'm going to pause. I'm going to wait to see if there are any questions, anything to add, anything I need to go back over. You know how I lecture. You've either been in class with me or you've seen my classroom lectures. That is very different from a video essay or even a pre-recorded lecture, the sort of thing that I do, which doesn't really lend itself to that kind of slow, careful, methodical analysis. But this, the technique of pausing every time you have something to say or something to reconsider or something to think about, this allows you to watch something or listen to something like you're reading it and follow through their reasoning, just to make sure that you know exactly what they're trying to say without missing anything. One of the main things that they'll wind up doing on that podcast is one of the major benefits of this format for them is that it allows them to criticize video essays in a lot more depth than they ordinarily would be able to, right? Because if you're just, I don't know if you guys listen to video essays about stuff. I actually do. I whether that's on academic material or on media commentaries and reviews and such. I enjoy those things quite a bit. Most of them are decently well written. The trouble is that it's hard to tell on first viewing, because first viewing you're probably going to be just reading it through, listening to it through beginning to end, like pausing, without stopping to reconsider, without going back over anything. But if you stop and you go back over what's already been said, and you pause and you take a moment to consider and to challenge what's being said, that is a lot more like what I would do if I'm grading a real paper, or if I am reading an academic article or book or essay or what have you. Because I'm going to be going through and carefully analyzing every part of what's being said, not just breezing through and sort of letting the author carry me along. Sip of water. And I think that is a crucially different way of approaching a text. If you're going to approach a text in a critical way, if in a careful, analytical way, you have to be prepared to put in the effort that comes with doing that. Really? There we go. All right, there we go. And so that's kind of, in part, what I would want to do with going forward with these reading groups, is once everything is recorded and I have my initial commentary on it, then I would want to go back with some of you guys, possibly having guests on who know something about the material as well, possibly that sort of thing, to more carefully analyze what is being said, both my initial commentary. Ashley, you died. Died heroically. I still. Side note from what I was saying, the choice on Vermeer between Ashley and Caden is one of the most iconic video game choices. One of those major moments that gets a reputation as a massive choice that has huge repercussions and all of that. And I do genuinely think that it's earned, especially because this sort of massive choice of losing a squad member in that way and having to choose like that was very, very new at the time. A lot of video games didn't have that kind of depth of choice yet when this came out in 8, I think it was. Or, well, Mass Effect 1. Mass Effect 1 came out. I'm still looking for more dog tags, so... Oh, yeah, no, I'll go here. There's one more somewhere. Anyway, so I would like to do that sort of format, going through in maybe excruciating depth with whoever would be interested in doing so, and just talking about both the actual primary source text. So in the case of the one we've already done, talking about what SCOTUS has to say about free will, and then further analyzing and even critiquing what I have to say on the subject, because my analysis of each of these in the reading group is far from infallible. I'm providing one perspective on it, and due to that, I'm probably missing something here or there, right? There's also a fair chance that I didn't explain something perfectly well, or something that, there is another possible reading that's perfectly plausible, anything like that. And so I think that this would be an opportunity to go over that, and both to analyze what's being said in the primary text, but then also to a larger degree to analyze and even to criticize what I had to say. So I think that would be a really cool thing to do. And again, if we can get if I get enough interest in doing so, if I get enough people who would want to, I would be absolutely do something like that, and even repeat it once in a while. Every once in a while, have a discussion of something from the reading group, something that somebody wants to talk about, or that sort of thing, with any number of people who are interested. All right, I think that is all. I think that's all that's here. So let's head back. Yeah, hopefully that'd be something I'm interested in, if it's something that you guys would be interested in doing with me. Beyond that, my plan for the next reading group, like I was saying, would just be to basically follow the same format as before. Try and read through the whole book, which would be obviously in this case much longer. Last time we used that far too loud. Now would be the time that it would be far too loud. If it is, let me know, and I may need to fiddle with my streaming software somehow or another. Mess with that. In any case, if that is something we'd want to do, it would be we'd be first doing something on SCOTUS. Then either as we go through, or maybe after we finish a chapter or a section of Kavanaugh's book as we go, we might do some of these watch together discussions. Something that's actually more like an academic reading group, you know? But yeah, if that sounds like something good, then I'm happy to do it. All right. Messages. That's the thing we need to do. Did this. The Alliance is grateful to receive the information you found at the Portals crash site and you've sent it to the affected families. Finding those dog tags, you've provided peace of mind for a lot of people. Thank you on their behalf. All right. Fantastic. We already rendezvoused with Kasumi. That'll be it. So, now, speaking of Kasumi, let's go do her loyalty mission, the thing that I was... Anyway, got distracted. So in any case, with the actual real semester starting up again soon, I will hopefully have more. It's weird. Okay. Anyway, hopefully I'll have more in classroom kinds of videos as well, kind of filling in the blanks on the pre-recorded stuff from my philosophy of religion course. Kylie, you've experienced the entirety of that, so you don't really necessarily need to again. But if anybody else is interested in that sort of thing and wants to come along with me on that course, then of course this will of course give you more of the opportunity to do that. If you want to check out my playlist on both that course and some related materials, it is one of my playlists called Preambula Fide, Preambles of Faith, philosophy of religion course playlist or something along those lines. And so that would be definitely something to check out if you're interested in philosophy of religion in general. Shadow Strike is really cool. So let's do that. Can't do that yet. Should probably save some points for it, but or yeah, let's save for that. Cool.
Looking good, Miss Allison Gunn. Hawk won't be able to keep his eyes off you.
See, this is so much better than the formal wear in the third game, which is just embarrassingly bad.
Take it I'm wearing this getup for a reason?
You'd look really out of place at a society party in armor, don't you think? You look great. You should wear this stuff more often.
I assume Allison Gunn.
And we're back. Sorry about that. Now there's a bit of a delay, and I apologize for that, but it will catch up to me. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Anyway, sorry about the delay. But yeah, as I was saying, Gunn, really, as a mercenary, you would think that, I was about to say, you would think that a master thief would be much better at coming up with a cover than this, but from what we have already learned a little bit about Kasumi, she is a big fan of, spy thrillers and the fiction of heist movies and things. So maybe we can forgive her for going a little bit over the top.
Remind me, what kind of man are we dealing with?
Hawk's a weapons dealer and smuggler. He killed my partner and stole his gray box. Other than that, he's not so bad. Rich, charismatic, willing to crack open a man's skull to get at the neural implants inside.
Now's probably a good time to fill me in on the details.
You have been waiting patiently. Our friend Hawk is throwing a party for his closest friends. A couple dozen of the worst liars, cheaters, and mass murderers you'll ever want to meet. All bringing gifts as a tribute to the man himself. Our tribute is a lovely statue of your old friend Saren, rendered with loving detail and filled to the brim with our weapons and armor. You can keep your pistol as long as it's concealed. They won't hassle you over a sidearm. Once inside, we'll make our way to Hawk's vault door, somewhere in the back of the ballroom. Then, we case the security and start peeling away the layers. The statue should be there, waiting for you to crack it open and arm up. Then we just waltz into the vault and take back KG's gray box. And I'll finally get a chance to say goodbye.
You've worked really hard on this. KG must have meant a lot to you.
Was I that obvious? KG's gray box holds a lot of priceless personal memories. It's all that remains of who he was. But the secret he discovered is dangerous. I wouldn't bring you here if it wasn't.
Okay.
This ought to be interesting.
That's what I'm going for.
So, personal processes. That sounds good.
This is our stop. After you, Ms. Gunn.
Hold a moment, ma'am. There seems to be an issue with the statue.
Is there a problem here?
No, Mr. Huck. Just doing a scan.
I don't believe we've met. Donovan Hawk.
Allison Gunn. A pleasure.
Sir, the scanners aren't picking anything up.
Okay.
I don't think our guests would come all the way here from Ilium just to cause trouble. Do you?
What manner
You
of
may pass
accent
through,
is
Miss Gunn. You were invited after all. But I will ask your companion to remain outside. You understand, I hope.
that? What kind of accent is that? I am mystified. 'Cause it seems to be an even split between Russia and South Africa, which is not a combination I thought I'd ever.
Care to explain why my friend has to stand outside?
I don't like the look of your friend, so she stays outside. Simple as that.
If it makes you feel more secure, she can wait outside.
Good to see we're not going to have a problem. Enjoy the party.
Well, that didn't go as I expected.
Any idea why he'd send you away?
No, we've never seen each other in person, and no one knows what I look like. Just watching his ass, I'm sure. I can't blame him.
What do we do now?
We go on with the plan. You'll just have to do all the talking. I'll stay out of sight and stick with you the best I can. We'll keep radio contact in case something goes wrong. We need to find the door and case the security. We'll figure out the next step then.
How did you ever contain that situation on the Olive?
Oh, that? A quick application of force, a little pressure, and bam! Done.
Thank goodness. I thought those rabble would dog you for years.
Nice.
What's your read on that Archangel guy?
I hear he's dead. Or gone, or something. Good riddance, I say.
Little do they know. Let's wait to continue too far. Let's see what there is to see around the party. At Reams, no way you can sneak out of that party. The place is locked down tight. Security chief is in charge. No way Ro would let that get past her. I'd rather stand her on guard duty against her wrath. Sorry. Samuels.
Chief Rowe, huh? She sounds like a hard ass. If we could tap into the guards...
I hear Mr. Hawk's vault is exquisite.
Who could know? He never lets anyone near it. Say, what's that?
Hawk's bedroom, I believe.
Wow, who's his architect? This is a very impressive place.
Or a very large one, at least.
It really is. This is a, worth noting, this is a human colony right near the Citadel. So this massive cityscape is a very new, very well-to-do human colony. Let's see about...
Some say Commander Shepard is still alive. Really?
Oh, please. It's wishful thinking at best.
Let's see what Hawk has to say.
He's gone.
We need to case the vault, Gun. You can chat up Hawk later.
Okay. Let's see about downstairs. There's something down there. Meanwhile, so part of the
Very nice. There's more here than I expected.
back to what I was saying.
Password-protected voice lock, kinetic barrier, DNA scanner. Looks like an EX700 series. Everything a vault needs to be impenetrable.
This gonna be a problem?
Please, remember who you're talking to. We'll need to get a voice sample for the voice lock. You'll have to go chat up Hawk for that. We'll have to find a password too. DNA, child's play. We should find plenty of DNA samples in Hawk's private quarters. And the barrier? Cut the power. Never fails. If we can find it. Keiji could get through a system like this in his sleep. And I'm better. Let's get to it.
Well, okay.
It looks like the barrier's power cable runs under the floor here. I'll set your Omni tool to scan for electromagnetic fields.
Well, okay. Yeah. Aha. This is neat. Moment. Let me finish this first.
One sec. That should take care of the barrier.
I'm wondering if maybe we should have waited to do that. Feels like that would definitely trip something. Whatever, it's fine. Everything's fine.
There he is. All you need to do is keep him talking long enough for me to get a voice print. Pull out the charm on this one, Shep. Whenever you're ready. After you.
Miss Gunn, good to see you. That scene at the door hasn't soured your evening, I hope.
I understand the security, but who would dare try to break into Donovan Hawk's home?
Gunn, in our line of work, we attract a certain element. Few understand the pains we take to keep the barbarians at bay. People these days want comfort, entertainment, love. They don't see that the galaxy is fragile. They only have to worry about simple luxuries. Why? Because people like me and you are doing the terrible things that keep the galaxy spinning. This party is for us. The cleaners, the support structure for the galaxy's gleeful delusions of peace. May there always be a market for the things we do.
It was really easy to keep him talking.
I said get him talking, and you got him talking. We've got enough of a voice sample. Let him go.
Enjoy the party, Miss Gunn.
Once we find the password, we can get past the voice scanner.
Okay, so bedroom? Okay, here we go. Anyway, so...
Mr. Hawk's private rooms are off limits to guests without security clearance.
I have clearance to go in.
On whose authority?
I have authorization from Chief Rowe.
Okay, 1 second. Chief Rowe, Samuels. Have you given access authorization to Mr. Hawk's private rooms? I see. I don't know who you think you are, but Rose says she's never heard of you. Nice try, though.
Enjoy the party.
Private rooms. We need to get in there. That's the best place to find Hawk's DNA.
So, that means I need to talk to Rowe, I suppose. Wherever she is.
That door goes to a security room. I'll take care of the lock. There we go. Ready when you are.
Anyway, so this whole thing raises the question of...
Take him down! Can't do that right now!
Okay, so this whole thing raises the question of the what circumstances, the circumstances under which, broadly speaking, theft is morally permissible. Nance, I have the problem too. So many passwords. Password for tonight is Perugia. Oh, wow, thanks. That's... Please don't write that down. It's no big deal. Oh, well, it's no big deal. The voice scanner means the password's only useful to Hawk anyway. Wow, that's... Why would you write that?
Got something?
Someone should
The password
really
is
get fired.
Perugia.
Huh. That's the name of the man who stole the Mona Lisa. Nice. I tapped their communications. I think we can get past that private room guard. Tell him Chief Rose sent you. Now, I just take the voice sample we got from Hawk and... got it. Now we can crack that voice scanner.
Well, okay then. In any case, as I was saying, I think that this is a good opportunity to talk about when theft is justified and when taking property that at least that is in somebody else's possession, like this gray box, is does or does not qualify as theft. And this comes to a lot of the philosophy behind property norms. A lot of it is determined by, right, so a lot of the ethics having to do with theft is determined by whose property it is, and is it owned, and what are you in fact doing with it, right? So what are you stealing? Are you returning? Are you reappropriating? Are you laying claim to something that is, for some reason or another, unowned? Right? And a lot of things that we sort of take for granted as being theft may not technically qualify as theft, as in this case, where, like, in this instance, right, Kasumi is out to retrieve stolen property. And as far as we know, a lot of the things that Donovan Hawk has are stolen, so there are two different things at play here. Because, you know, we just looted his safe, if you recall, back in the security room. On the one hand, stealing back what was stolen, stealing back the gray box for Kasumi, that's pretty cut and dried, right? That's returning stolen property to its original owner, not a problem. But then stealing stolen property, right, that is not and was not your own, that becomes more complicated. And broadly speaking, there are a few different views on it, and I take the broadly Rothbardian position, Murray Rothbard's position, to be correct, which I'll talk to this guard. I'll go into that, elaborate a little bit more.
Mr. Hawk's private rooms are off limits to guests without security clearance.
I have clearance to go in.
Look, I already called in once. This is getting old fast.
Just try it again.
Fine. Chief Rose, Samuels again. These guests are back in.
They have access, Samuels. They'll stop bothering me.
Got it. Sorry to bother you, ma'am. Okay, you're clear to go in. Enjoy the party.
Sounds like the guy who voices Archer. Maybe not. It's probably not, but it sounds like him. Sounds a lot like him. This way. Nice. Anyway.
Look for anything we can get usable DNA from. Just make it quick and quiet.
It's clean.
It's a plant.
It's normal. It's a musical motif.
Holographic interface. Won't find a sample here.
Akuda decryption project update. Little progress to report. We've now completed dictionary attacks using words and phrases from 4,800 galactic languages. Jesus. Research from the Okuda family has not produced any matches. It is unlikely that a random brute force approach would produce a result within our lifetimes. Given the nature of the gray box technology, it's possible that the decryption key may not be a password at all. It could be a memory, an emotion, even a smell. The permutations could be infinite. I suggest that we begin investigating alternative methods for breaking through the security of the box.
We can probably get Hawk's DNA off the datapad. He seems to have obsessed over this. But I'm not sure there's enough. Let's keep looking.
Yeah, so interesting.
No DNA. Looks like Hawk's been trying to crack KG's gray box.
Good news
Looks
is
like
he
he's
hasn't
missing
been able
something.
to yet.
He hasn't cracked the encryption yet.
No hair, no skin flakes.
It's weird.
The housekeepers must be thorough. Ha! Found a sample?
Now a credit sheet.
Huh. Okay, got a credit for that. That's good.
Not a great saliva sample, but it's still useful. We're going to need more than this for the scanner, though. Empty. Too bad. A cigarette butt would have been a good source.
Good morning. Time to wake up.
Sorry.
That's horrible. Who would wake up to that? Who would do that to themselves?
The cleaners don't dare touch treasures like this. We can get some skin cells from the dust. That should do it. Let's get out of here.
I was thinking that there might be like a blood sample on it because he was using them for fancy rich person duels or something. Man, this is really nice. Little sandbox type thing and everything. Oh man, there's guards. Okay, we should leave. Anyway, so I was what I was bringing up before is the broadly Rothbardian perspective on stealing stolen property, and appropriating stolen property that does not, that did not and does not belong to you. So, Hawk illegitimately acquiring credits, money that he did not steal from us or from Kasumi or anybody else that we know or are acting on behalf of. Are we justified in stealing it? Well, the Rothbardian
Hawk
perspective.
throws a hell of a party.
Yes. I'm not too pleased with the caliber of people he's invited, though.
Oh, thanks. Rothbardian perspective, more or less, is that stolen property is unowned. When you steal something, you incur a debt. You owe...
DNA identification affirmed.
Nice.
Welcome, Mr. Hawk.
You owe something, you owe it back to the person that you stole it from. Or equivalent value, plus harm caused, etc., etc.
Password required. Voice ID accepted. Welcome, Mr. Hawk.
Who in the world could predict how that accent would say Perugia? No. Anyway, that bothers me. Let's grab our... Oh, we can't get our arms and armor yet. Okay, fine.
I'll check for security cams. Go ahead and get dressed.
Okay. Anyway. Why did it have to be Saren? Really? Neat. So the particular property that you steal, particular pieces, right? So if you steal money from somebody, you owe equivalent value in exchange, but at the same time, you don't necessarily owe the particular thing back if it can't be returned. Because otherwise, if you lose it, or if you give it away, or if you sell it, or what have you, then it would be impossible to recover what was stolen in any way, shape, or form. So you need some way of returning equivalently. Because of that, I think we're good. Because of that, the particular pieces of property become unowned. So if someone, quote, steals it, like we're doing here, if you steal stolen property, what that means is not that you have, you've stolen it either from the person who stole it or stolen it from the person that it was stolen from, right? Suppose that he stole these credits from the council. He ripped them off in a business deal or something. And then we steal it from him. We've not robbed Hawk, because it's not his property. We've not robbed the council, because Hawk owes them for the return of the credits. We don't.
So this is Hawk's fault. Very nice.
So this is why Rothbard and others...
It's not far.
This is why Rothbard and others hold that that stolen property is unowned. It's not owned by anybody in particular. And so it can be originally appropriated.
Michelangelo's David. Just... wow. Think we could get this out through the door?
Off of Earth, but okay. Weird base, is that correct? Odd. In any case, right, it's, broken statues. In any case, it is, the particular thing that you reappropriate. Use that on, technically, whatever. It's, it may be a Prothean statue of an Inusanon, I guess, maybe. In any case, right, so the the item that you steal, quote, steal or just take, if we want to put it that way, is unowned. So you are essentially appropriating it from nature. So it's like picking an apple on a tree that nobody owns. That's roughly the equivalent to at least the ethical equivalent.
Doesn't look like much, but that might be one of the most valuable pieces here. Turian art is rare outside of Palaven. For good reason, I say.
That's art. This really looks like, late 20th, early 21st century human art. The bad kinds.
Ugh. Rachni Queen. I guess everything's valuable to someone.
What's we got? Yeah, Turian ship.
A model of the Kara. It's like a Turian Titanic, the way I hear it.
That's a fighter. A fighter be the Titanic. Whatever.
I feel like its eyes are following me. Yikes.
Oh, that bad.
This looks like Quarian script. Wow. This has got to be old. When was the last time the Quarians wrote on stone? This is nice. Oddly relaxing.
Okay. This is a neat little Easter egg.
Wow. Imagine that thing coming at you in a dark alley.
That's interesting, because this is an ogre from the Dragon Age series. Dragon Age Origins in particular, I think. And so I used this as well as a couple of Easter eggs from in the Dragon Age trilogy of there's a couple of mounted Krogan heads somewhere in the game. It was in Dragon Age 3 or Inquisition, I mean, where it.
How did Hawk get Lady Liberty's head?
That can't.
Damn you, Hawk!
Oh my god. Nice reference. Yeah, I don't think.
I could still get money for something like this, even outside the Alliance. Asari go nuts for this sort of thing.
Anyway, so I used that the ogre statue as a kind of excuse for claiming that Mass Effect and Dragon Age take place roughly in the same universe. There's a lot of people who claim this.
Not sure what it is,
though. The case. Is that conduit? Just a statue. What length it is.
That's a Casa Locust. No, the Casa Locust. The gun that killed 2 presidents. Gorgeous. It even comes with a perfect copy, too. I'm sure Hawk won't mind if we borrowed these.
This might be useful.
Absolutely. Let's use that. That's why I did this one first before Zaed's mission. So, in any case, before I grab this, I want to finish what I was saying. So, a lot of people will use this, where the statue went, that one, as justification for saying that they take place in the same universe in some way. Basically, in our tabletop game that I talked about a lot on the stream, which was a hell of a lot of fun, we did a little detour side mission. By side mission, I mean we crash landed on the planet of Thetis, where Dragon Age takes place, and we had our we interacted with a lot of the stuff going on in the Dragon Age world, using kind of Mass Effect technology disguised as magic and such. And basically, a lot of it lines up properly, right? If you can just assume that lyrium, the sort of mineral source of magic in the Dragon Age series, is just element 0, and they don't understand the technology. Like, they don't understand what it is, so they just assume that it's magic, and they use it like it's magic. Something along those lines. So that's basically what I went with. And I also made... I had another idea for this, but I made what's it called? I made the Darkstalkers. The underground monsters. The thing that the ogre is one of. Darkspawn. That's it, Darkspawn. Them. I made them a lost colony of Rachni, which makes sense in the universe, and it ties it in with a lot of the other stuff that was going on in our campaign having to do with Rachni. The other idea was it was a fungal life form that would infect and spread like that. And that way, it also has an excuse for having a kind of hive mind to it. But it was neat. It was a cool little connection between Bioware properties. There's a bunch of these little connections, I think, that kind of justify it enough.
Don't bother, Miss Goto. It's code-locked. I had a feeling that was you at the door. I knew if it was really you, you'd get through anyway.
You know
That's
me.
really creepy
I don't
big
like
sword
to
on face.
disappoint.
I need what's in your grey box, Kasumi. You know I'm willing to kill you for it. I'll admit your skills are impressive. You got into my vault like I'd left it open, but you're still going to die, screaming, just like your old friend.
Let's see you try. This is where your special skills come into play, Shepard. Let's do this.
Locked and loaded.
You see that? Did I do that? Going dark.
My screen.
Flashbangs.
Moving to cover.
Now you see me.
On my screen.
Oh, that's
Beautiful.
not a lot of shots of McFlurry.
Checking
Okay.
blueprints. There's a landing pad to the east. Let's get out of here.
Joker, bring the shuttle in, now!
Need a bit more ammo, yes, because I'm not great with either of these weapons yet. Anyway, yeah, Kylie says that accent is really weird, like a mix of Aussie, Arabic, and Russian. I wasn't noticing the Arabic, but I guess I could see that. Maybe it's just like an amalgamation of every like stereotypical Bond villain, because every stereotypical Bond villain has some form of either Arabic or Russian or usually South African or Aussie. I was thinking South African rather than Aussie, especially because it fits the villain trope better. Yeah, one of those, or all of them. Really hard to tell.
Taking cover. Incoming.
That had to hurt.
Yeah, I'm guessing, my guess for the accent is that it is kind of like that is designed to be a kind of combination accent that's basically, it's just a Bond villain, or, you know, heist movie villain accent. It's sort of an intentional combination of multiple. Oh,
They're coming from the front.
Right. To reload somewhere. This is a really good song.
The round of the vault, seal them in.
Damn it! We have to find another way.
Yeah, the accent really threw me for a loop at first, I will say. I'd completely forgotten what that was all about. That sounded like. Because like I said, I've seen this before. I've watched a playthrough of this mission before. But even that was a long time ago. That was a couple of years ago. And I hadn't remembered how crazy the accent was until I heard it the first time here. Hey, there's something cool here. Credits. There's a lot of mechs. It's not something I want to fight.
There they are! Enemy sighted!
You're talking like heavy weapons.
Going dark.
Contact.
That was weird. Anyway. This is,
They've seen us.
Anyway, oh, that'd be fun. Let's wait for that. Collect everything we can collect before we start shelling with tank weapons. In case you missed what that was a tank-mounted mass accelerator cannon that I think we can shoot. We'll hold along. Very cool.
That got it.
What the hell are you people doing down there?
Parts.
Kill Allison Gunn. Bring the other girl to me. Reliant. Hostile spotted. Taking cover.
Not much. Okay.
Going dark. Now you see me.
Got him. Alright. Nice. Okay, let's see what else we got. A coming. It's kind of much. Okay. Anyway. So again.
Don't fight me, Kasumi. You know what happened to your boy Doi when he walked in.
Like that. Murderer.
Hostile contact.
Now you see me. That had to hurt.
There we go. Anyway. So again, it seems to me that at least fairly likely most of Hawk's fine goods that we've stolen were initially stolen. Then we also now have the justification of self-defense here, obviously, using what means we have available to us to defend ourselves from unjust aggressors, people who are attempting to stop us from retrieving stolen property. Because again, retrieving stolen property is a justified use of force under just about any system.
This looks interesting.
Tech damage, thanks. Okay, also nice. Alright.
Keep them busy. I'll take care of this myself.
Oh, boss fight time. I suspect. No, do not.
Going dark. Going silent.
Taking cover. On my screen.
Cloaking.
On my screen.
Got him. Anyway. So, as I said, under most reasonable ethical systems, using force to retrieve stolen property is justified. This is one of the justifications for judicial punishment in any case. And that is clearly, in large part, at least what the main mission we're doing here is.
Watch for the drone.
No shield.
Light him up.
So, because that is what we're doing, right? People attacking us throughout the course of doing so constitutes unjust aggression, so retaliating. We're effectively defending ourselves in the pursuit of justice. But again, I have to be
I'll
careful.
tear you apart.
I have to be careful saying justice simply because, again, this is justice in the sense of retrieving what we are owed. We are owed back recompense for Hawk having stolen this gray box, and even for murdering Kasumi's partner. And so in our pursuit of retrieving that which was taken, and we were again being attacked, and so we were defending ourselves from that attack, rather than this being a case of us being the aggressors, which would be, the ordinary case if this were a simple heist. We were just trying to steal his valuables, that sort of thing. In that case, it doesn't matter if we get attacked by guards. We would still be the aggressors, and they would be the ones defending Hawk's property and themselves. Excuse me. From our aggression. So again, all of this depends on who is the initial violator.
Incoming! Get down!
Wow, that's
Could have done this the easy way, Gold.
Allow me to show you the hard way.
Look left. Coming from the right.
okay. It's black hole this time. Interesting. Did I miss? Wow, that traveled really slow. Okay.
Get to our left.
Lay down your weapons.
Not gonna lay down the weapons.
On our left. Here they come.
Okay, interesting.
What did you tell your friend, Kasumi? You're doing this for love?
Now it's
Back
like
into full shield. If I can get to the ship, I can take down the shield.
oh, that's pretty cool.
Complete.
Wow, that's very much an anti-infantry weapon, but it's very cool.
Galaxy for you.
Shepard, I need a clear path to the gun. Take out these blocks.
My shield her down.
Now you see me. On my screen. Going dark. Can't do it. Clear out the guard. I'll take out the shields on the gunship.
Careful, men. What the keeper pretty face dead.
Grabbing cover.
Down you go.
Here we go. Ouch.
Got a clear shot. Here we go.
Yeah, that's it.
Shields down. Let's tear that thing apart.
Alright, so once again, this is that over-the-top action movie aesthetic we get that is very nice.
Look left. See that?
ourselves. There we are.
Look right! Engage.
Too late to get out of this alive, Kasumi.
Hostile spotted.
There we go. Oh, wait. Did he just completely explode? I think he just completely exploded. Wow. Okay, that was, I almost felt anticlimactic. Holy crap. Kinda didn't expect Hawk to just completely blow up in the ship and keep firing up. Thought he was going to get out and have a final confrontation or something. I'm a little bit surprised. That seems like the kind of thing that, you know, I was just saying that this is very much an action movie type scene. I was thinking that would be the kind of thing that would happen. Let's take in this view really quick. Once again, because, man, that's nice. That is very nice. Alright, now let's go.
Kasumi, if you're seeing this, it's because I'm dead. The information we found is all here. It's big, Kasumi. If the Council ever got wind of this, the Alliance could be implicated. Kasumi, I encrypted the information to keep it safe. And I uploaded the encryption key to your gray box, so no one could get the whole package. But if I'm dead, and if anyone knows about this, then I've made you a target, my love. I'm so sorry.
Keiji.
I know you, Kasumi. You'll want to keep these memories forever. But you don't need some neural implant to know I'll always be with you. Please. Kasumi. Destroy these files. There's nothing more I can do to protect you.
I can't do that. This is all that's left.
Goodbye, Kasumi. I love you.
Is there any way we can just destroy the information?
No. Keiichi's a master at encrypting files. He laced the information into his memories. You can't get one without experiencing the other.
Huh. This is a tough call. I mean, it's a tough call in one sense. Because it is something of incredible sentimental value to Kasumi. I mean, you can imagine that this is all she has left. She loved, and that it's not just memory, but it is basically the ability to re-experience everything she experienced with him, right? Then, on the other hand, he has, dangerous information that the whole reason we set out on this whole mission was to keep that information out of the wrong hands. Now, with Kasumi keeping the information, she has it. It's not like it's going to go public. It's not like it's going to... Excuse me. It's not like it's going to go into the wrong hands unless she allows it to, and she doesn't seem to be one who's going to allow it to. So the danger is there, but it's... The danger is more that she will be targeted. rather than that the information will get out. That said, if anyone thinks she has the information, which is perfectly reasonable, she deletes it, or destroys it, what have you, there is a fair chance that someone would come after her anyway to try and get the information that she had retrieved, and even if she had destroyed it. So it seems like, Keiji's reasoning for wanting her to destroy the gray box and destroy the information with it was so people wouldn't go after her. It doesn't seem like that's preventable by destroying a gray box. It seems more like that the real dilemma ought to be whether we destroy the dangerous information or keep it. And it's, again, vague as to what this information is. That said, there's another opportunity to do something very, very similar to this, where dangerous information can be either kept or destroyed. And we'll get to that maybe next week even. It's on Morden's loyalty mission. It might be 2 weeks. In any case, right, it is... that is one where the information can clearly be useful for good purposes. This, it's not clear, because I don't know what the information is. Shepard doesn't know what the information is. It seems like Kasumi doesn't even know what the information is. And so it's just information in the abstract. And I typically like these kinds of scenarios because they abstract the question away from particular details, right? So it comes down to whether information ought to be kept, especially if that information carries sentiment along with it. I tend to lean towards yes. And I tend to lean towards keeping information, keeping knowledge, even if the knowledge could be dangerous, especially if it fell into the wrong hands, etc., etc., etc. So I would actually, I think I've talked myself into keeping the gray box and the information. Then, see, this is the process of practical reason, right? Where we don't have a simple ethical precept that tells us one thing or another to do in a case like this, because we have apparently conflicting principles. Right? We want to try and minimize harm, right? And there's a chance that that this information getting out will cause apparently significant harm, but at the same time, right, there are reasons for keeping it, right? One, the preservation of information as such is a good thing, and then also personal reasons for Kasumi are pretty significant. So I think, let's tell her to keep it. We'll see how this turns out. Again, I've never made this choice in this game before, so I don't know. This is me thinking it through from a blank slate, so to speak.
If it's that important to you, keep it. Just make sure you're ready to live with the consequences.
Yeah, I am. I'll stay off the grid. No one will know I exist. I think I want this. Thanks, Shepard.
We also have the question of living in the past versus moving on. And that actually makes the moving on from the past difficult. So that is another kind of... that's something I hadn't considered. That is a bit of a quandary that, again, we'll approach later with somebody else entirely. Another squad, Thane, has similar problems in his past. So, neat. That was cool. There was a lot that was very cool about that. Oh, yes, she gets that flashbang grenade. Outfit, cool. Locust, great submachine gun. Tech damage credits, and platinum, and that's it. Alright. So let's go down in the ship, talk to Kasumi, see how she's doing, see if she has anything else to say, reflect about this. Yeah, so... Wait, do I get to keep the dress? Oh, that's awesome. Alright, Hey, WizKid. Good to hear you. Good to hear from you. I'm gonna try and mess with that sound option just in game. I think the problem is... let's do that. Yeah. Oh, that's a little better. I think part of the problem. So WizKid, we got another hour and a half at least. I still want to do Zaed's loyalty mission. So if you haven't seen that, that's where we're headed next. There's a lot to do with revenge, which is really cool. Let's do this one. Let's go with that. Ooh, no damage. Yeah, let's go with recharge time. That's better. Awesome. We still have to do Zaed's loyalty mission, like I said. Apparently, there's another issue with my streaming software. I think I'm gonna try and get that fixed before tomorrow. Let's save while we're here. I think I get to keep the dress. Very nice. I didn't know that. Either that or it's just like until I go on the next mission or something. Oh, hey, from Mom. And Hannah Shepard. So I have to find out my child is alive third hand from Alliance Brass. Where the hell have you been? I figure whatever you've been doing is classified, likely part of your Spectre operations. Just stay safe out there and keep doing your mom proud. And sneak something through a secure channel next time. Love, your mother, Captain Hannah Shepard. Nice. Very nice. Anyway, so that's cool. Let me know if the sound is still an issue. Hopefully it won't be, but who knows. Like I said, I'm gonna have to make sure I fix my streaming software between now and next time. But for some reason, the audio capture, I can't control the volume on it. Sorry about that. Hey, Shaira, from the Citadel. Commander, I thought that my gift of words had been incorrect, an embarrassing notion. My contacts tell me you yet survive. I'm pleased to hear that your journey continues, though I sense that you head towards an even deeper darkness. When you fought Saren, only your resolve was tested, but now I fear you cannot rely only on your own strength. Take whatever steps you must to ensure that those battling at your side, fight with clear minds and glad hearts. Be well, Consort Shagira. So again, this kind of comes back to what I'm always talking about with respect to Shepard, and that
Commander,
is this
received a new message at your private terminal.
This concept of Shepard's squad being the hero, right? They are the hero that Shepard kind of brings together more than anything else, right? It is her bringing everybody together that hey, everybody has everything equipped already. Cool. It's her bringing everyone together that makes this heroism possible. It's not simply her doing what she does. She's not the sole hero like the traditional hero's journey type hero with 1,000 faces type of thing. Can I keep it? Yeah, nice. Yeah, let's keep that. That's nice. Wait, hamster. Let's go talk to Kasumi. So again, it seems to me that Shaira is right there. The whole thing about everything that makes Shepard the hero is the fact that she can bring together this incredible team and keep them, guide them towards victory in a way that no one person alone.
Hey, got a minute?
Yeah.
I really appreciate your help with the Hawk heist. I've been going through Keiichi's gray box. It's so nice to have him back. Even in that form, I miss him. Mess Sergeant Gardner might just be an evil genius. Emphasis on the evil. The food's gotten better lately, though. I guess his reputation will take time to heal.
Excuse me? Anyway.
I'm not really sure what to do with myself. Not much call for thievery aboard a ship.
Yeah, I should hope not. I should really hope not. Alright, so that's all. Let's go do something that I hadn't really mentioned before. I got an upgrade to heal the scars on Shepard's face. So let's do it. Permanently heal facial scarring and remove all evidence of cybernetic enhancements. Or implants, not enhancements. Yes. There we go. Back to our good old... We were also talking a lot about property norms and how and when it is acceptable to take what does not belong to you. And the rule is essentially, right, we can boil it down to something like you can take what does not belong to you as long as it doesn't belong to someone else. And what this means, what this ultimately amounts to, is that you can that stealing stolen property is not stealing. The stolen property is unowned. And it effectively winds up being the same type of thing as, yeah, I can have a rating for it. It winds up being the same type of thing as original appropriation, we would call it. Essentially taking something which is either abandoned or owned by no one in particular, like taking something from nature. Now we will I'll come back here eventually and scan all these planets. But yeah, eventually we will next, we will go and do Zaed's loyalty mission, which is a mercenary contract, and it also involves Zaed getting, or at least attempting to get revenge. Not MSV Rosalie. Zaed, over here. Aya. So we can talk about some of the decisions that we need to make here. Oh, there's no there's no scanning on this planet. That's surprising. I thought there was. All right. So let's do it. This is a more traditional combat mission than the one with Kasumi. Although, with Zaed, we might just want to bring Kasumi on it. Why not? That's Zaed. Badass. Ooh, her appearance is red. Alternate's red. Yeah, I like the black though. Yeah, let's go with Zaed and Kasumi. See how they interact. Right. Let's go with the rapid Shadow Strike. Yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna wait for Inferno Grenade because it's incredible. Alright, cool. That'll work. And I'm gonna keep the Singularity Gun, Blackstorm. And that'll do. So I mentioned at the beginning, and now that I've got more of you guys here, I'll bring this up again. I'm going to be shifting the schedule around starting next week. I'm going to be switching from from Wednesday, Thursday to Monday, Thursday. So Mass Effect stream is going to be moving from Wednesday night to Monday night starting next week. At least for until I might need to change anything again. And do that. And we'll see if and when I might need to change again. For now, starting next week, like I said, we're going to be switching the Mass Effect stream to Monday nights instead of Wednesday nights. I've got something going on, and my schedule needs to move around at least for now. So we'll see how long that lasts. Once my schedule settles down for the fall semester, for sure. If I find that I might need to change things around again, I may wind up changing them again. But at least for next week, it's going to be Monday and Thursday.
It's definitely Vito's style. Let's push ahead.
So I've got I've got something else that I had to reschedule that I usually have on Monday nights. We moved to Wednesday. So basically, I switched things around. Hopefully, hopefully you guys can continue with me.
Likely these people are not runaways.
Hi, Jax. But hopefully, it shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Report to base. Armed intruders incoming at the southern checkpoint.
It'll also be nice to kind of spread things out a little bit, so I'm not doing 2 consecutive evenings. That's a little rough on my voice, I will say. Especially the kind of pretty intense once I'm also teaching 3 days a week, so it will also be kind of rough. But we'll see how things are going. And like I said, this may or may not be a long-term, medium-term, short-term. Who knows for sure? All I know for sure is next week I may move things around further or differently after that. Cool. Hopefully I will see you there.
Reinforcements incoming. We got your backs.
Among whoever else manages to show up. This also might expand things out a little bit, because I know, like I said, having 2 days in a row is. Having 2 days in a row is probably rougher than it needs to be. I'm just gonna go. I love the tracking on the very, very poor tracking on the rocket launcher. Works for powers as well, for the most part. Okay. Let's continue. So as a refresher, we're going after Vito Santiago, the leader of the Blue Suns Mercenary Company, which is the same group that we've encountered a couple of times. And if we recall from last week, those are the boomers from the quarantine zone.
This is Commander Santiago. If any of you retreat while the intruders are still alive, I'll kill you myself. Now get the hell back out there.
Vito. Sounds like he hasn't changed.
I get the feeling you have a past with this, Vito.
I knew he was a sadistic bastard back when we started the Blue Suns. The Suns only got meaner after he staged his little coup 20 years ago. So yeah, we have a past.
So that's kind of crazy. This mostly Turian and Batarian gang was founded by a couple of humans 20 years ago.
Why didn't anyone tell me you founded the Blue Suns?
Because it's not common knowledge. Vito wiped me out of the records. He ran the books, I led the men. Worked real well for a while. Then Vito decided to start hiring Batarians. Cheaper labor, he said. Goddamn terrorists, I said.
20 years is a long time to hold a grudge.
A grudge? Vito turned my men against me. He paid 6 of them to restrain me while he put a gun to my head and pulled the trigger. For 20 years, I've seen that bastard every time I closed my eyes. Every time I sighted down on a target. Every time I heard a gunshot. Don't you call that a goddamn grudge?
You survived a gunshot to the head?
Yeah. And you survived your ship getting disintegrated. A stubborn enough person can survive just about anything. Rage is a hell of an anesthetic.
Zaed is unbelievably badass, and I mean that quite literally. He is almost too over the top, but still can't get enough.
All squads mass at the gatehouse, now!
They know we're here. Bring it on, you son of a bitch!
But yeah, he's definitely in this for personal reasons, in addition to just taking a job. That is clouding things to an extent, right? Because we're also here primarily, we're getting paid to help evacuate this this processing facility, whatever this is exactly. And so we might see the personal and the professional start to conflict a little bit here.
Zaed Masani, you finally tracked me down.
Vito.
Don't be stupid, Zaed. I have a whole company of bloodthirsty bastards behind me, ready to kill or be killed on my command. Actually, take your shot. Give my men a reason to put you down like the mad dog you are. Again. What was that? Gone nearsighted, old friend.
Burn, you son of a bitch.
You just signed your death warrant, Masani.
What the hell are you doing?
Opening the gate.
We don't sacrifice lives for the sake of the mission. There's always a better way.
Like what? Wandering out in the jungle for hours looking for another way in. You want to waste time out here? Go ahead. I'm gonna kill Vito.
You're endangering lives and the mission for your own selfish revenge.
You really want to do this, Shepard?
I ought to knock you the hell out. Thanks to you, we have a burning refinery to save.
Let these people burn. Vito dies, whatever the cost.
Alright, so he is in the process of completely abandoning the mission he was initially on for the sake of revenge.
Take cover!
So tying this together a little bit with our streaming of Red Dead, that is a little loud still. I'm going to turn that down some. I'm going to turn down the effects. Cool. Do that. Anyway, like I was saying, so thinking back to Red Dead, Dutch always says revenge is luxury we can't afford, and then of course goes out for revenge. This is exactly what he's talking about.
Help! We're trapped! We can't get to the gas valves to shut them off! The whole place is gonna blow!
No time. Vito's probably halfway to the shuttle docks by now.
You're willing to watch these people die?
Damn right I am. We stop to help these people and Vito gets away. And if he gets away, I'm blaming you.
So, this is one of the main mechanics of Mass Effect 2, and one of the things that makes it unique. Loyalty missions. And what this is you have to secure the loyalty of your squad so that you can basically get through the final suicide mission with them alive and actually them doing what they're supposed to be doing. If you don't get their loyalty, you can fail parts of the missions later on. Now, this decision initially looks like a departure from that mechanic, so to speak. That you can go on this mission and not get Zaed's loyalty. You can say, forget loyalty, save them. That said, you can still get his loyalty if you're a tough bastard to him in the end. Anyway, basically if you have enough Paragon. They were very, very close to being incredibly subversive about how you have to secure your squad mates' loyalties, or if it's even worth it to do so. But they still kind of leave you an out. I'll say with the ending of the trilogy, and also with the choice between Hayden and Ashley, you don't really have that kind of wiggle room. WizKid asks, so you can actually fail the suicide mission completely? Yes, you absolutely can. There's a couple of things that you do if you either don't have the loyalty of your squad mates, or you select the wrong squad mate for the wrong, submission. It can just be a non-standard game over, and you have to start back from a previous checkpoint. There's a couple of things like that. Further, you can just die. and it can be a legit suicide mission, and everyone dies. And then that is technically a game over. Right? It doesn't continue, it doesn't give you the end credits and such. And it doesn't give you the ending cutscene and all that, because it can't continue through onto the third game, because in the third game, Shepard is alive. Right? Shepard survives the suicide mission, canonically. So yeah, you can fail the suicide mission. Either by failing to complete it, in a couple of cases. Although that is basically the equivalent of just dying on the mission and you just start from a checkpoint, whatever. Or you can just die and it ends, right? The game ends there, and you either have to reload a previous save, or that's just it. You can't import that game file into the third game and continue the story. So yeah, you can totally fail the suicide mission, especially if you just die. If you succeed the mission and do the thing, which we'll see what it is when we get there, but you don't survive it, and that's a failure. From a overarching narrative standpoint, that's a failure. And then also you can lose squad mates. You can lose, I think, almost all of your squad mates can die on the suicide mission. There might be exceptions to that, but I think everyone can die. But yeah, let's save these people, because it's what we do. We're big damn heroes. WizKid says, right. And does the ramifications of people dying in the suicide missions leave any bearing on Mass Effect 3? Absolutely. It's massive. If you know details of the story in Mass Effect 3, think about the implications of, for example, Tali dying. Or Thane dying. Or who's somebody else who has a massive impact in 3? Samara dying. There's a side mission that has exclusively to do with Samara, and if she's not there, that mission goes very, very differently. We haven't met Samara yet in this playthrough, but we will. She's really cool. Same with Thane. Hell, Morden. If Morden dies, and he can definitely be one of the ones who dies. If Morden dies, then the whole mission sequence on Surkesh and Tuchanka go wildly differently. It still has some of the same story beats, but a lot of it is the objectives are basically the same. Gameplay-wise, not too much changes, but some of the objectives are like some of the storytelling things change dramatically. So yeah, there's a lot to that. There's a lot of impact that squad mates dying can have. Yeah, let's go be big damn heroes.
We're here to free these people. We're going in.
I knew this was a mistake. If we're gonna do this, we'd better get to it.
Yeah, like WizKid says, that is one of the things that made the Mass Effect series, especially the trilogy, so incredibly impactful, and such a game changer in gaming. In particular for RPGs, right? RPG series. The Dragon Age series did similarly, though, I will say. There are huge things there are huge changes you can make in Dragon Age Origins that have lasting impacts, incredibly lasting impacts throughout the rest of the series. Of course, in Inquisition, they have one major cop-out. If you have played the game, if you played the series, one of your squad mates, Liliana, she's basically a how do I put it? Like a nun, basically. She's a religious sister. And you can make a choice that means she will fight you to the death, because you basically do something pious. You desecrate something sacred. And if you make that choice, if you choose to do so, she will fight you to the death, and you're forced to kill her. Now, she is a major character in the third game in Dragon Age Inquisition. And because of that, they kind of do a little bit of a cop-out, and they basically make her some kind of a, what do they call it, lyrium ghost? Lyrium is their source of magic. It's this weird magical mineral stuff. It's, like I was saying earlier, it's my supposition, if I set both of these games, if both of these series in the same universe, it's Element Zero, but they don't understand it, basically. So they think it's magic. But yeah, she's basically a lyrium ghost, is what they call her. It amounts to almost exactly the same, except at some point, like at the end of the story,
Oh, what's this?
she just disappears. She just kind of evanesces. So it's very close to these levels of impact. WizKid says it would be amazing if they had everything planned out to begin with. Yeah, that's very, very difficult to do. Especially in a game where they don't even know if they're going to have sequels. Like Mass Effect 1 was made before the sequels were even confirmed. BioWare did not know for sure whether they were going to be able to make a Mass Effect 2 and 3. Same with a Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition as a follow-up to Origins. They didn't know if they were going to be able to do that.
This should come in handy.
This thing, but okay. It's cool, but I'm not going to use it this time. I'm going to use it right now just because it's really neat. It's very cool. Where are they? They shouted go into cover. Come on, I'm going to burn you alive.
Look behind you!
I'm going to be
Enough of the flamethrower. It's cool, but no thanks. Yeah, just from a production standpoint, though, like I said, it's very, very difficult for them to plan out the entire series in advance, primarily just because they didn't know that they were going to have the whole series to plan out. Let me switch off from that. I want that. Okay, cool. Oh, Zaed does too.
Switch up.
There. Anyway, but yeah, BioWare loves doing that, and they're very good at it. And I think, honestly, Mass Effect is probably their best. The best they do at making real impact. And a lot of people complained about Andromeda that your choices don't matter. It doesn't make a difference. And I will remind anybody who complains about that your choices in Mass Effect 1 did not make that much of a difference in Mass Effect 1. The differences they made were in the second and the third games. Right? So that's kind of how I think you have to look at Andromeda as the first in a new story arc.
Never should have come here, Zaed. Did you forget who you were dealing with?
Going dark.
So I really do think that is the. There we go.
Put him down.
That is a big problem with a lot of the criticisms of Andromeda.
Up ahead!
And also, I mean, that points out the same problem, is right that they don't know that they're going to be able to make a follow-up Andromeda 2 or whatever. Alright, let's do.
Shoot it down! Sit down! Ha ha!
Oh, okay, there's a mech. Okay, great. Boom.
Heads up.
Oh, Kasumi's dead.
Firing concussive shot.
There we go. Alright, cool. Yeah, I do tend to agree, though, in the abstract, that when at all possible, it is far better to plan out the entirety of a series in advance than to just kind of plan as you go. And if you want any particular example of this, if you want one knockdown case in point argument for this, look at the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Okay? If you look at the Star Wars sequel trilogy, it was very, very clear that it was not planned out from the start. If you listen to interviews, or if you read anything that the directors have said, it was very clearly not planned out from the start. There were things that J.J. Abrams planned to do for the entirety of the series, and then those things did not happen because he didn't write the second movie. The second movie was written separately with a different end in mind. And this obviously led to bizarre problems, right? Character discontinuities, even plot discontinuities. And that's a huge issue, and that is, I think, one of the biggest flaws in the sequel to the Star Wars sequel trilogy. And compare this with the prequel trilogy, which, for all the flaws of the individual movies, like the writing and the style of the individual movies, as a trilogy, it works phenomenally because it was all written as one part. It was all written as one story by George Lucas. He had one vision in mind for the entire prequel trilogy, and he wrote it out and he made it happen. Now, as individual movies, they certainly have their problems. Oh, hey, we're right here. There's Vito. Vigo.
This time,
Vito.
Zaed, you son of a bitch. See you in another 20 years.
You just cost me 20 years of my life. Ah, son of a bitch! Oh.
You started this fire, Zaed. It makes sense that you'll burn in it.
Yeah, screw you. Now come on, get me out of this shithole.
You put your revenge ahead of the mission. How can I trust that you'll be there when we need you?
I'll do what I was gonna have paid to do, Shepard. Just don't expect any more than that. Now stop screwing around. Let's go.
And this is what I meant, that it lets you kind of talk your way out of it and still get him on your side.
You put your own goals ahead of the mission. That is not the way this works.
I've survived this long watching my own back. No time to worry about anyone else.
You're part of a team now, Zaed. There's no way we can do this unless we're all working together.
You have a point. I'm not done with Vito. But I can put that behind me long enough to get your mission done. Let's get the hell out of here.
Kylie, I wouldn't even just say karma. I would just say, oh no, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions. He directly caused everything bad that just happened, right? In his pursuit of revenge. This was a very, very symbolically fitting end result. Now, you can kill Vito, by the way. You can kill him. If you decide to let the people in the factory burn, you can decide to go the other way, go after Vito and shoot him dead. I've done it once on a Renegade playthrough. Because, you know, you're letting the people you came to save all die through entirely because of Zaed's actions. Which is not a good thing. But yeah, I think that this is a really, really nice... that whole scenario and situation really fits nicely as a kind of symbolic recompense for the kind of for Zaed putting his quest for revenge over both altruism and what he had intended to do, right? What he set out to do. Yeah. But yeah, it's now also worth noting the whole revenge thing. I've talked about this before, I think. When I've talked especially about expiatory justice, right? Recompensatory, not recompensatory. What's the term in English? The Latin term translates to vengeance, whatever it's called. It's basically returning harm for harm. And that is essentially what revenge is. It's just doing that in a formalized, returning harm for harm in a really
no messages
usually violent and sadistic kind of way. In the case of Zaed going after Vito, right? What do we got here? Weapon ammo, yeah, absolutely. What else can I get? Oh, perfect. The nuke launcher. Remember, technically it's not a nuke launcher. Normandy scientists have prototyped a modified version of the traditional high-yield explosive rounds. If you remember those from the last game, that's what I had in my shotgun. That applied to a 25-gram slug when accelerated to 5 kilometers per second. The round is devastating. Though technically an inaccurate label, this prototype weapon is nicknamed the nuke launcher, and its high explosive matrix generates an archetypal mushroom cloud on impact. Just you wait. This gun is incredible. Yeah, we're definitely going to use that on Grunt's loyalty mission. We'll get to that. It's amazing. I love it. Yeah, the scene had very... Kylie says, this scene had very... I want to watch the world burn vibes to it. Yes. Zaed is not a happy camper at any time. Except when he's hanging out at a party with Samara, trying unsuccessfully to flirt. That's adorable. He's a teddy bear. But that's it. That's the only time. Yeah, the scene where the person was watching what looked like a burning planet. I mean, yeah, exactly that one. That's the one. Yeah, very much so.
This mission takes me back. Hell of a mission down there on Zoria. Can't believe Vito got away. 20 years of tracking gone, just like that. But I gotta let that go. We have more important things to do.
Good. Glad you can let it go.
I was trying to remember how many Cerberus operatives I've killed. Lost track around 50. Guess your elusive man's big on forgiveness.
Huh. Yeah, that's probably close to Shepard's skill count for Cerberus from the last game as well. Just wait for the next game. That number goes up higher. Now let's see how our engineers are doing.
The new armor reinforcements really threw off the gravimetric profiles, but engines are good to go. I rebalanced the Gilborn coefficients and adjusted the anterior intakes on the second-tier stabilizers.
I love it when you talk dirty.
Anyway. Yeah, WizKid, yes, basically eye for an eye. That is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. That's the kind of Oh yeah, very Metal Gear Solid vibes. Yeah, Zaid is very much. He reminds me a lot of old Snake. But yeah, it's very much eye for an eye. And part of what I always want to talk about when we're discussing this kind of revenge, or even what? Sure. Okay, fine. Or even if we're talking about retributory justice, is the what I would say is the intrinsic unjustifiability of it. Because what are you doing when you're out for revenge? You're essentially. Why did I do that? I should have gone to there because that's a next mission that we might as well do tonight. Let's see, Rosalie. One of the most mechanically meh parts of this game. All right, let's do it. Firewalker. It's not what it sounds like, but let's do it anyway.
Anomaly detected.
Okay. Oh, it's right there. Well, this is a rich planet, so let's mine it first. But yeah, so what are you doing when you take revenge? Like, what are you seeking, and what are you gaining, and what are you doing? Well, somebody has harmed you, right? Somebody has done something bad to you. And so, what you want to do is you want to pay them back for it. But what do you mean when you say payback? Right? We say this term, and it just kind of turns into a compound word without any extra meaning to it, right? Say get payback. Well, what do we mean? Ordinarily, when I say I need to pay someone back, pay somebody back something, if I don't mean that as a kind of compound word, and if I mean those words independently, if I mean those in terms of justice, especially, what I mean is I owe them something, right? So if we go out to lunch and you pay for my meal and I say, hey, thanks, I'll pay you back. Right? What that means is that I will return what you have given me. And so there's a model on which we can say that revenge is similar, right? You have given me harm in a very analogical sense. And so I will return that harm to you. I'll harm you back. I'll pay your harm back to you. Now, the problem with this is that when you harm someone, what are you giving them? The trouble here is that the answer necessarily has to be nothing. Or less than nothing. You're not giving them anything. You're taking something away from them by harming them.
Something on our sensors.
Right, so what did Vito give Zaid? A bullet? No, we wouldn't say that. He took away the loyalty of his men, and he took away, in fact, his eye. Oh no. Kylie says, now I have the Mean Girls music stuck in my head. One of the songs literally is I Want to Watch the World Burn. And now all I can envision is the guy singing that while he was doing it. No, I don't want to. No. I don't want to combine Zaid and Mean Girls. Both are philosophically fascinating, but I don't want them both together. Oh no. Oh no, that's not what I envisioned for tonight. I lost my train of thought entirely. Let's see how his alternate appearance looks. Dark red. I dig it. I like it a lot. But no, not for this time. Let's go with Garrus and... Wait. Let's go with Miranda and Garrus because she needs armor. And actually Garrus or... Yeah, let's go Garrus. But yeah, no, that's terrible. What was I even talking about? Lost and confused. Let's do... Nah, let's go with we're gonna need area throw. We're gonna throw fields. What are these things? Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, we're gonna need throw fields, so let's do that. Let's work on that. He needs his armor-piercing ammo, so we'll get to that. Save her points. Actually, no, let's get Cerberus Officer. Do we need squad health, or do we need squad weapon damage? Let's go with weapon damage. Yeah, let's go for it. Anyway, I was saying something about revenge. So I'm just gonna wing it, see if I can go back, find my way back to what I was talking about. Jesus. I think... Oh, right. I was talking about giving and taking. So Vito didn't give harm to Zaed, except in a really, really analogical sense. He kind of did by analogy, but realistically he took from Zaed. He took the loyalty of his men, yeah, thanks, it was good. And he took the loyalty of his men and, straightforwardly, took his eye.
I'm going to stay at the next site with Dr. Aloy. I think we'll be safer there.
Right, and because he took from Zaed, not giving to him, then it's not right to talk about revenge as payback in this case. It's not like Zaed is giving something back to Vito, like giving a bullet back to him, right? Harming him in return, right? Because if Zaed harms Vito, if he kills him, Zaed gains nothing from it. It's not like he is restored. We have a cool hovercraft now. It's not like Zaed is restored
Primary systems online.
by the harm that he has done.
Welcome to the M44 Hammerhead Infantry Fighting Vehicle. This is your onboard VI.
This is a mess.
Guided missile system active. Obstruction detected.
Boom.
Path is now clear.
Boom.
Would you look at that?
Hey, got some stuff.
Mission objectives located. Acquired.
Rockets. Anyway, so, right, if Zaed killed Vito, Zaed would not gain anything from that. Right? He would just harm Vito, right? Vito would lose, but Zaed wouldn't gain anything. By contrast, and I think a great counterexample for this is Kasumi, right? So Kasumi is not trying to get revenge for Keiji. That's not what she's after. She's trying to recover what was stolen from him when he was murdered. And she in fact does. She gets it back, right? She gets something. She returns what was taken. She restores the harm done. Which is very, very different from what Zaed was after, which was not restoring the harm done. He was just trying to cause more harm. And this is the problem with revenge, right? Revenge is in returning harm for harm, in you know, taking an eye for an eye, that kind of thing. It's not beneficial to anyone, and it is harmful to well, frankly, in the case of Zaed at least, harmful to everyone, right? It didn't help him. In fact, it almost killed him, and it caused all sorts of collateral damage as well. Okay, there's been some chat. Hold on, gotta catch up on this. Kylie says, I'm laughing so hard because now that'll be in your head and you're gonna want to search it up to the song, envision the guy singing it and doing the choreography. And no, I'm not. And so no, you will survive. You're not dead. Don't worry, I'm not gonna do that. I am probably gonna watch Mean Girls again within the next day or two, though. That's what I do. I have to watch that movie every year or two. And it's been a while. It's been. I haven't watched it since the last time I taught critical thinking, which was a couple years ago. Anyway. Next, so Kylie also says, I would think revenge would be adding something to someone while simultaneously taking the loyalty and trust. Zaed added the potential for mental trauma. And the trust issues, it could also be seen as adding new perspective for the person who sought revenge. Maybe you learn something from it, but it's not like you're recovering what was taken from you, right? And this is where I think the Kasumi comparison is perfect. Because Kasumi is recovering what was taken, right? And that is very, very different from Zaed, who is just trying to harm Vito because Vito harmed him. Thinking in terms of cause and effect, right? So yeah, WizKid says it's an Ouroboros. It just keeps going and going until it destroys both parties. Yeah, that's the other danger of revenge, right? You're going to escalate in your revenge, and then they're going to escalate in their revenge because you escalated, etc., ad infinitum, right? There's going to be no stop to the process. You're going to keep hurting each other more and more and more until somebody's dead, and then your next of kin will escalate further and further. And once again, we see this kind of thing in Red Dead in the two feuding families in Rhodes. Same kind of thing. The problem with revenge. A problem with revenge. But yeah, once again, this comes back to... Jeez, need some water. This comes back to that insight I get from Republic 335. I have the video on it. I've talked about this before. How returning harm for harm cannot, in principle, be a part of justice. Right? It needs to be the focus on restoring what was lost. Right? And again, like I said, Kasumi works perfectly for this because she gets the gray box, she gets Keiji's gray box back, which is what she lost. Right? Now, not entirely. She doesn't get... yeah, WizKid. It's basically the Red Dead version of the Hatfields and McCoys. Nice. Caught it. But yeah, it is a... No, she doesn't get Keiji back, who was taken away, who was killed. But she does get something back, right? Her goal was not to kill Hawk. That happened, right? But that is clearly not... excuse me. That is clearly not her style of doing things, ordinarily. If you do it long enough, WizKid says, eventually you inevitably forget what you're even fighting over. Yeah, and you can see this clearly, clear as day with both the Hatfields and McCoys, Capulets and Montagues, another good example, or the... I can't remember it. I'll remember it tomorrow night when we're playing Red Dead. Yeah, alright, so let's... now we can head back to the Master Relay. There are more missions here. There are more of those Firewalker, the hovercraft missions.
Fuel reserves at 50%.
Oh no. Which we could do more of those. They're quick, they're simple, they're pretty straightforward. We could do them. Or we can do something else if we wanted to. I don't want to recruit the convict just yet. Or Rogan. Or Overlord is very long. That is a major DLC mission. So let's... well, we got 40 minutes, so let's just yeah, let's do the rest of the Firewalker stuff. We got time. They're not very long, they're pretty straightforward. And there's not a lot of story mission that goes along with them, so I can talk through just as well. Fur? Oh, it's not. Probably not fur, it's probably bear. Or where? Anyway.
I have detected an anomaly.
But yeah, that is, I think, the chief problem with revenge is that the goal you're seeking is fundamentally unachievable through harming somebody. You're not going to recover anything by hurting somebody else. Now, it might be a means to an end, right? You might be seeking to recover something, like Kasumi was, and wind up harming the person who took it. Right? That is the case there. Right? Hawk's dead. We blew up his gunship and him in it. Right? So he's dead. But no, there's the thing. Actually, there's nothing else on this planet worth taking either. There we go.
Probe away.
So we might also wind up harming the person who took it. Sure, that's a possibility, but that isn't the goal, right? That isn't what you're seeking. What you're seeking is to restore what was lost. Right? And doing that might involve harming the person who did it, because they might have gained for it, and you might wind up taking it away from them. Or they might try and defend themselves, or defend what they have unjustly taken and harm them for it, right? Self-defense kind of thing, like we were talking about then. But on its own, right, the only reason that you would harm the person is as a means. That wouldn't be your end.
Scans have found something.
Right, and again, like I said, that is primarily because both the reasons you've pointed out, WizKid's pointed out in particular, right, that vengeance has this kind of vicious cycle to it. This does not matter, I think, at all. So let's see what Miranda and Kasumi have to say, because I don't think you even get out of your ship for this. I don't think. Unless this is a completely different mission than the one I'm thinking of. And I hope not. I think you stay in the Hammerhead. Yeah, you stay in the Hammerhead for this one. This is purely for party banter if it shows up. But yeah. Like I said, the problems with Revenge are both the vicious cycle aspect and the fact that it does not actually accomplish what you're seeking to accomplish. These are auto-seeking missiles, by the way, and that really limits the tactics, the actual gameplay tactics available for these missions. So WizKid says the only time violence is ever justifiable is in defense, whether it's if it's of an individual, or of an entire way of life. Careful with that, because define a way of life such that it could be defended violently in a way that does not simply constitute individual self-defense. I don't think you can come up with that, right? I think that if you're going to justify violence in defense of, say, a culture, or a way of life, what have you, you can just as well defend it from a perspective of individual self-defense. Or defense of others, right? Defense of others as well. Without having to refer to something as nebulous as a way of life or a society or anything like that, because those are all very vague, and that's a problem when it comes to ethical reasoning. You want your principles in ethics to be as precise as possible, so you don't wind up with there we go. Jesus. You want them to be as precise as possible, so you don't wind up with either contradictions or unclear conclusions. Because again, in ethical reasoning, you want to be as clear as possible. You don't want uncertainty in reasoning like that.
Extraction complete.
What am I shooting at? I'm unsure as to what this is locking onto, but it's not the target that's highlighted. WizKid says, so in response, I mean the Western ethos of liberty and individualism, specifically against collectivism. Yeah, problem there, though, is by fighting for a way of life per se, you wind up typically using collectivist reasoning, and that winds up being self-contradictory. And so we have a problem there. it's the whole. You remember? I mean, you might be too young for this, but nobody else might remember George W. Bush saying something like, "We have to abandon free market principles to save the free market," right? In defense of the 08 stimulus package. I think it was that. Might have been earlier than that. Might have been a monetary policy thing. I don't remember. I think that was what he was talking about, though. But it definitely said those words, right? And that turns out to be just self-contradictory action, acting against one's intentions. Luzkin says that's fair, assuming the thing before I started talking about President W. It just excuse me. It seems to me that the left has grown so radical and so anti-liberty that it's a war they want. It's a war I'll give them. Well, first of all, we're talking purely defensively, Susan. Not in terms of any aggressive acts of the nasty T word or anything like that. But no, what I was I think though you can justify any means of defense, right, of a system, right? If you can justify it in those terms, you can justify it in conventional terms as well. If it's a matter of you having the if it's a matter of you having the right and ability to do what you ordinarily would do, right? If you're within your rights to act in a certain way, in line with a certain culture and in line with certain values, etc., and somebody tries to prevent you from doing so, they're going to have to do so violently, right? And if they then attempt to do so violently, then what you're then going to have to do is defend yourself. So essentially, you would be employing violence against somebody who would be initiating violence anyway. So if that is the case, that's an if, not necessarily, but if that is the case, then what you're talking about is justifying the same thing and just in a more conventional way, right? You got not all of it. That's all.
Acquired.
And then also you run into things like just war theory, right? And if you mean literal warfare, I mean, even if you don't mean literal warfare, just war doctrine does apply analogically, right? If you mean, defending yourself or defending some principle through violence, then you're going to have to apply something like just war theory. You're going to have to employ something like the principles therein to determine whether your actions are in fact justified.
Get forces detected.
This one's going to be tough and pretty close. That's the big one. Yeah. It's not actually that tough, but it's slightly more difficult. Hit me a few times. This thing is also basically made of paper, which makes this a little more difficult. Jeez. There we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, WizKid says I'm 2 minutes behind. Part of that is the actual, there is a bit of latency in the actual stream. Part of that's my fault. Part of that is because I have it on low latency instead of ultra low. I should probably try ultra low latency. I could probably do it, but yeah. And also, I lost connection for about a minute very early in the stream, and that caused an extra minute or so's delay. So only part of that is you. Part of that's you, and part of that is my end of the stream. It's also delayed. So sorry about all that. But yeah, you have to look at these things in terms of how would I put this? I think one way I would describe it, describe the difficulty of this issue of looking at what circumstances you can justify defensive violence when it's not defense of particular persons or property, etc., is you don't need, I don't think, you need additional principles in order to justify these things. You should be able to apply the principles you already have to a broader range of circumstances. You don't need to add, well, I can defend myself, I can defend other innocents who have not told me not to, and I can defend property proportionately, let's say. You guys know my problems with proportionality, but let's just kind of stipulate that and say, okay, fine. Right, but you can do those three. I don't think there's an extra reason to add, well, you can also employ violence in defense of a culture or cultural norms or a way of life. I don't think you also need to add, you can employ violence in defense of the law, right? Legal violence, that sort of thing. All of those are either unjustified, which in some cases they probably are, or they are just particular applications of the principles we already have.
Fuel at 1/2 capacity.
And if they're particular applications of the principle we already have, then we don't need to add extra principles. We just have to work a little bit harder to figure out how our current principles apply to these new situations. Whisket says, okay, it's better to stick to fundamental principles as opposed to needing to add addendums. My bad. No, I mean, it is a I would think a very common, I would say error, but it's an easy thing to slip into, to say, okay, well, we have a novel situation, we need a novel way of dealing with this. What seems to be the best way of doing so? Instead of just saying, well, we have a novel situation, let's apply what we already know to it. That isn't how we do empirical research, certainly. We encounter a novel situation when we're doing empirical research. We try and find completely novel information, new ways of knowing things.
Probe launched.
We don't just try and apply what knowledge we have already gathered to the new situation. That would be kind of silly and unnecessary under those circumstances. And we, especially we moderns, tend to think in terms of empiricism, right? We tend to think in terms of science and scientific method, where that kind of thinking is perfectly appropriate. So it's easy to fall into that way of thinking, I think. I think that's partially responsible for why that is such a common, again, I would say error, but a common misstep, let's say. Yeah. Especially need platinum. Should have gotten a mod that just gives me a heat chart, a heat map of the planets.
Probe away.
But whatever. Yeah, actually, I probably have shared this recently with you guys. In the description of one of these videos. My video from a while ago about Patreon, because I talked about Patreon on I think it was on one of my Mass Effect streams, and their ethical problems, their sort of amoral
launching probe,
acting without principles, and ruling without principles. I would even say, like making rulings as per their community guidelines without appealing to genuine moral principles, or even just stated guidelines that are rigid,
probe away,
comprehensible. If I agreed with that, WizKid, I would be hypocritical. People need to be broad and deep as opposed to over-specialized to one or two specific situations. Yeah, kind of. I am nothing if not over-specialized in my knowledge, though.
Probe away.
That's the thing. But honestly, I think you're to an extent right in that because I'm over-specialized, I defer to people who know what they're talking about. In those, this is the ice one, or is this the fire one? Remember. But yeah, I'm wildly over-specialized in my knowledge, obviously. Let's go Garrus and let's do their fun. Oh geez. Okay. minerals. All right, yeah, let's do that. And then Mineral Shock's really good, but I'll get points before I do that. So let's do these. Cool. Fire and ice, baby. And phalanx, yeah, that'll work. Anyway, but yeah, well, this is the ice one. Okay, great. I may not be able to look at chat if this is the mission. I think it is, because I need to. It's basically a
primary systems online.
Oh no, it's not. No, it's not. This is different.
Adverse geothermal activity has rendered pathfinding function inoperable. Please use manual controls to locate research base.
Anyway, yeah, I'm willing to defer to people who I know what they're talking about in areas that I know nothing about. And that, I think, is the big difference between me and somebody like, I don't know, Bill Nye, who admittedly is less scientific and pedantic than he has been in the past, but at the same time he still kind of is. There's stuff down here. Let's go look. It's possible I wasted my time. No, there's a thing down there. Cool. There's two things down here. Nice. But yeah, that's my little addendum.
Area compromised due to unstable volcanic activity.
Possible hypocrisy of that sort of thing. In any case, so what I was talking about, right, is the Patreon thing. So I've talked about this before, that I think Patreon behaves very unethically in their application of rules, and we've known this for well over a year now, since the banning of. It really set off with Sargon of Akkad, but it did involve others as well. Oof, it's close.
Mineral resources detected.
Acquired. And my video on the subject was from around that time. It was sort of in response to the banning of Sargon and some others that, and Matt Christensen, another YouTuber, did a massive expose on this. Did a fantastic job exposing a lot of their faults. Interestingly now, Patreon is in some severe legal hot water. Check out Tim Pool has a good video on the subject. Sargon of Akkad has a good video on the subject. Where Patreon is probably going under, like, within a few months, because of like bad legal decisions and improperly, basically going after content creators.
Research base entrance ahead.
Leaving themselves open for recommends.
Acquired.
Yeah, you're talking about Bill Nye. Yes, I absolutely agree. WizKid says he should have stuck with being an entertainer, and I would even say a popularizer. Popularizer's fine. And stop trying to be an advocate. Yeah, I very much agree. Very much agree. Let's see, what do we got? Medical station. Some credits. Okay, cool. I don't think there's anything to fight in here. Just in case. Keep the gun out. Detected a site of incredible significance located beneath a volcano. Unpredictable terrain will make retrieval of any data extremely hazardous. Okay. Credits. Do abandoned credits. Shattered window. Door I can bypass. Locker. Few credits. WizKid says, I just saw a video breaking that down. It's crazy how hypocritical these kinds of companies can be. Very much so. Patreon has some huge ethical problems to deal with, and it looks like they're going to get it. They're probably screwed because of this. Oh, hi, floating Morden. That's pretty neat. But yeah, there is a very good chance that that Patreon is screwed because of all this. But yeah, I would definitely check out my video on the subject as well if you haven't, because I go through.
I was right. This site was a roadmap leading to the main Prothean ruins. Dr. Aloy and I agree that this must remain a secret at all costs. I will not allow another Eden Prime to occur. The Geth, the Reapers, all of them, they must be stopped.
Okay, very cool. Creepy. Anyway, so what I was saying, yeah, I go through what is wrong beyond the obvious, because I mean it's obvious that they there's glass there. I mean it's obvious that they screwed over creators who didn't deserve it, right? So that's really straightforward, but I think it goes beyond that. My argument is the way that they apply their principles, or essentially they don't. They don't apply principles at all. They just kind of go with whatever seems right immediately, and they're very, very upfront about doing things that way. So again, I highly recommend my video on the subject, and also Matt Christensen's few videos on it, where he has both a transcript of a call with a representative of Patreon, and then a few other videos analyzing the situation. WizKid says, I mean, it sucks how this screws all the people who depend on them, but honestly, as far as I'm concerned, they've had this coming. Yeah, this is why I got off of Patreon. I had one. I had very, very little income on it, obviously. But a year ago or so, when all this went down, I got off the site, primarily because I couldn't bring myself to support a company like that. That would be so incredibly arbitrary and fundamentally opposed to what I'm trying to do, both professionally and in addition, like online, this sort of thing. I couldn't support that sort of thing. And then also because the writing was on the wall, Patreon was screwed from there. I mean, they had made a huge mistake, even from a practical standpoint. And man, it is going to hurt a lot of people, but there are some alternatives. Subscribestar is decent. I've still having issues getting that set up after a year, so that's not very good, but I know a lot of people who have no problems with it, so there's an option. But yeah, there are at least some alternatives. And again, once Patreon, the big flagship, goes down, I'm sure others will crop up to compete. So it's not all bad, but it might be mostly bad. This hellish planet is a star map that points to a Prothean site of major significance. Dr. Aloy and I have mere hours to retrieve all we can before the conditions become too dangerous to continue. We learned too late that the local volcanic instability is magnified by our power grid. If only we had more time to study this, I'm sure the key to unlocking everything is here. Everything, damn this planet. They behave as if, WizKid says, they have no principles. As if they don't believe in the idea of principles on the whole, and many people are like this nowadays. Because of postmodernism, isn't it? Kind of. Let me play you something in just a moment. After I complete this mission, let me just play. I'll jump over and play and grab some audio on this subject. I don't necessarily think it is specifically postmodernism.
Triggered additional volcanic instability. Recommend immediate departure.
We have to go, now!
Okay. That'll probably wrap us up on this for tonight. It is 11:45. My voice is getting shot. Not once. What's up? Usually, 3 hours isn't too much for me, but apparently this time it's a little rough. Yeah, once we go back to the Normandy, I'll play the It's an audio clip from Tom Woods talking about this in particular, this lack of principle. I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's exclusively due to or a feature of postmodernism per se. I think it's broader than that. I really think it just comes down to kind of sloppy thinking. It comes down to a lack of, oh no. Okay, let's try that again, shall we? Oops. Boosted too late, I think. I think it's a kind of sloppy thinking. Like I said, it comes down to right, this kind of lack of first principles, right, is it's just a feature of not, it's not a feature of rejecting coherent first principles, right? If it were, then they would reject it explicitly and in favor of something else. Rather, what they're doing, what people like who effectively reject first principles, what they're doing is they are just forgetting, right? They're intellectually lazy. They don't want to think things through from a rational standpoint. They just want to come to the conclusion that they think is right, and they want to skip the getting there. And I have this experience with students quite a bit. Not you, Kylie. You got this pretty well. But I do very often have this problem with students. They really don't want to. They don't want to think something through the complex ways, right? The way from first principles all the way through. They just want to, right? They don't want to make an argument. They just want to prove what they think is correct. They don't want to have to justify what they think is correct, because that's hard. Right? That's actually quite difficult. And most people don't have a lot of practice doing it. So naturally, people are not really going to be all about doing that if they have an alternative. And the alternative is just, yeah, this seems right, and then just go with what seems right, But yeah, that is I think one of the biggest issues. It's not, so again, it's not I don't think it's an intentional ideological position. I think it's just intellectual laziness more than anything. I mean, maybe there are probably postmodernists. I mean, yeah. So you say, WizKid says they don't want to be reasonable; they want to be right from the very beginning. Yeah, very much so. And I don't want to limit this exclusively to postmodernists, but I don't want to rule out postmodernists either, because, oh, that's weird. Because I'm sure postmodernists do this to an extent, right? They will reject first principles per se, and that's an element of it. But I think that's a minority point. That's not the most common reason for this kind of bad reasoning. All right, so let's see. All right, here we go. I'll speed it up slightly.
Yeah, but I think the way you understand it is to realize something that it took me a long time.
Oops, sorry. Let me start this over and increase the speed slightly just so I can run through it. Cool.
Yeah, but I think the way you understand it is to realize something that it took me a long time finally to acknowledge, that maybe you are dealing with people who simply don't have universal principles. They have particularist desires. I want what's good for my group. And for my group, free speech is good. I want what's bad for that group, and for that group, suppression and muzzles are good. I think that's genuinely what it boils down to. It's not that they're hypocrites. It's like saying, and you get this all the time in a first grade classroom, the Puritans were hypocrites because they fled England seeking religious liberty, and yet they wouldn't give religious liberty to other people. Wrong. They were not seeking religious liberty in the abstract. They were seeking it for themselves. They were seeking to practice what they believed to be the proper Christian religion. At no time did they say, and we want to be a haven for all people who have oddball ideas. They never said that, so they were not hypocrites at all. And likewise, I think in this, maybe the left are not hypocrites because they genuinely don't believe in free speech. They never said they did. I mean, well, their parents said they did, and maybe their young grandparents in the early 60s said they did. But that was a long time ago. I mean, that's like saying that Alan Greenspan is an Ayn Randian because he wrote for the newsletter in the mid-60s.
That was a clip. There we go. I assume that you heard that. I hope. If not, then sorry. I will put a link to my video which has that clip in it. If you were unable to hear that, if you could hear it, then fantastic. Because I think Tom is spot on about this.
You received a new message
I think he's completely right when it comes to people who just don't really think in terms of first principles, right? It's not that. It's not that.
Hadley,
that
how you gonna spend your next furlough?
That people are hypocrites. It's just that they don't think in those terms. Like, they don't think consistently. Consistency doesn't matter to a lot of people.
You're right, Matthews.
Commander.
So let's see what's up with Joker.
I assume everything's going well up here?
It was until the thing started questioning my every move. It won't let anything slide.
You were deliberately falsifying maintenance reports, Mr. Moreau.
Not falsifying, tweaking. I always round up on task times. It makes us look good when we come in under.
Yeah, that's fine.
Harmless self-promotion. Edie can ease off on that.
Very well, Shepard.
Yeah, go pout. I win.
Joker.
Right, no hard feelings. Good game.
Uh-oh. Sorry about the drop for a second, I think. I may have lost you guys. Anyway, WizKid says they literally don't believe. Oh yes, Kylie. Shep got an outfit upgrade. Yeah, basically I got to keep the cool swanky dress from Kasumi's loyalty mission, which is great because it's actually nice. The dress you get in Mass Effect 3 is terrible. I have a mod to replace it just because it's really, really bad. It's really bad. Anyway, so WizKid, like I said, I'm a little hesitant when it comes to talk of things like, quote, Western values, because it implies that it's one set of axioms when you could just select another set, rather than it just being, basic first principles of reason. But that's a minor nitpick. I know what you mean. I don't mean to go after you about it. But it's easy to make that jump. It's easy to make that leap, and a lot of people do. A lot of like nationalists, like the alt-right kind of nationalists, will make that leap, and they will say, "Well, we believe in Western values because we are Western people. Let other people believe what they want. That might work for them, right?" It's a lack of confidence in one's own position, in a sense. It's a loyalty to one's own position because it's one's own, rather than a loyalty to one's position because one thinks it's correct. Anyway, that's all I've really got time for tonight. So what we'll do next time is we will recruit our next two squad members. We're going to go get the Convict and the Krogan. That is Jack and Grunt. So that'll be a lot of fun. Those are some really fun missions. They are some quite challenging missions. So get ready to watch me die repeatedly. Yay! And then, time permitting, we might go to the sort of midpoint mission, which is on Horizon, where we may be meeting an old friend. Very good way of ending it, WizKid. Tribalism as opposed to true conviction. Right on. Yep. Absolutely. That's a big issue I have. So anyway, with that, I'm going to call it a night, and I will see you all hopefully tomorrow. Don't forget, next week, Mass Effect is moving to Monday night. We're going to be doing Monday night Mass Effect and Thursday night, once again, Red Dead Redemption 2. This week, as normal, Red Dead Redemption 2 tomorrow night. We're going to be doing more stuff in Saint Denis. I did some hunting off stream, and collection-y stuff. So that'll get us through a lot of the stuff in Saint Denis. We'll at least do the party, and we'll do some of the other stuff having to do with Angela Bronte, and might do a big heist, might do a big story mission. Fun. All right. So with that, I will say goodnight, and I will see everyone tomorrow. Bye.